We're back again. I think at this point, if I get frozen again, I'm just going to keep talking because I don't think you want to just keep waiting for that. So I'm just going to keep going unless it freezes up for a really long time and see if we can get through this. But again, so I think the real reason to get to visit a campus is to see the things that we don't tell you about, the intangibles. Kind of why would you want to go there? How does it really feel to be there? So it's all about fit. It's fit both directions. It's fit for you. You want to make sure this is the right place for you. It's fit for us to make sure you're the right type of student for us as well. But it really is about those intangibles. You want to get onto that campus, feel if the setting's right, if it feels safe, if the students around you are the ones that you want to go to school with. We are really, really, really more than a view book. And so you're going to really try to figure out if this is the right school for you. So you've created a short list. You already kind of know the sort of colleges you want to go to, and you're trying to narrow that list down a little bit. Or you're still trying to figure out if you want a big school, a small school, an urban school, a rural school. So you're going to go and you're going to visit a number of schools. The best time really to visit is the end of your junior year or the start of your senior year, when there's enough time to still make those decisions, but at the same time you're not so far down the path that you're really locked into it, and don't have the option to make other choices. The other thing that you may or may not know about the campus visit is that it actually helps you get into a school. We do things at universities where we determine how interested a student is in us, and that actually helps evaluate whether we make an offer or not sometimes, because we have a limited number of spots and we want to make sure that we're offering students spots who really want to come. So we do all sorts of ratings and rankings and assign points to different things that you do. And one of the most important things we look at is if a student has visited a campus. Because we know if you haven't visited us, you're more than likely not as interested in us. Now there are some exceptions. If you are applying to school in California, it's unlikely that you're just going to be able to pop in and do a visit there. But if you're planning to go to school within, a reasonable driving distance, then we fully expect that you will visit us at least once and hopefully multiple times. So it actually, if a student's waitlisted or on the fence about a scholarship or admissions, sometimes that campus visit really can flip them over into the positive standing to see whether we let you in or not. Again, like I said, you're going to want to think about doing these at the end of your junior year, or the beginning of your senior year. The best time to really do it is when school is in session, because you're going to really want to see what it's like. Is it a vibrant campus life? Is it kind of dead? I mean, do the students there, are they all like you, or are they goth, or are they super party atmosphere, or very serious? I mean, you're going to want to get that feel when students are in session. It's a little bit harder to get that feel in the summer because we're all kind of deserts in the summer. If that's the only time you have to visit, then by all means do visit then. But if there's any way you can visit during the school year, please try to. For instance, Monday, President's Day, many high schools are closed, but my institution's open, and we're having a big event that day just because we know most high schools are closed. So many schools will be open when you don't expect them to be. So, try to find out their schedules, look at their websites, give them a call, whatever it is. As much as I want you to try to, be planful about your visit, sometimes you're just going to be traveling and you're going to drive by a school that looks beautiful or interesting and you've not heard of it. Go ahead and pull onto that campus, see if there's a counselor available to speak with, or give your own, do your own little tour. Often we have maps or little guidebooks or something like that available for self-tours. So I don't want you to miss that opportunity, but if you know you're going to be traveling specifically to visit a school, please try to let us know at least 2 weeks in advance, because we want to make sure that the visit is the best for you and we have time to prepare for it. Also, our tours sometimes get filled, and we want to make sure there's availability for you, particularly if you're traveling a long distance. The other thing about visits, try not to cram too many visits into one day. Your average visit will take 2 to 3 hours, but you have to have travel time. Sometimes things go long. Sometimes you want to eat lunch there. You really want to give yourself enough time. So if you're doing the college sweep and you're going to, for instance, visit Baltimore where I'm located, and you're going to visit 5 schools while you're here, please try not to do more than 2 a day, because you're going to feel rushed. We're not going to be able to show you everything we want, and it's probably just not going to be the best experience for you. Every school does the visit a little bit different, and we offer different things. Some schools only offer group visits. Some schools only offer, big event days like an open house event. Some will do individualized tours, some won't. Some accept drop-ins, some don't. So all of us are different. So again, if you plan ahead and you're very planful about your visits, you'll be able to find this information out before you come. So it's the best for both of us. If I had to pick which one is the best, probably the individualized tour is the best, because you do have one-on-one time with a counselor. Sometimes students aren't as comfortable in this sort of atmosphere and feel better in a larger setting. I can tell you the group tours can sometimes be too large and you don't get your questions asked. And the admissions events are always great, but they're usually a full day. So that's a little bit more of a time commitment. Sometimes they even have an overnight component. I often recommend that students try to, if the school is close enough, to try to do multiple events so they can do an actual admissions event and do an individualized tour. The other thing is, when you do your tour, there's different things that you want to do. Again, like I said, try to give us a couple of weeks notice if you at all can. Give yourself that time to do the full tour. Arrive early. Often we're very tight on time from the college angle. So if you have a 10 o'clock appointment and you show up at 10:15, there's a good chance we won't be able to accommodate you at that point because the tour's already taken off or something like that. If you're going to be late, just give us a shout and we'll see what we can do. We might be able to arrange something, or we'll make other adjustments at that point. But it's a very bad impression to show up late without letting us know. We certainly understand you get lost, all sorts of things can happen, but really do just let us know. What you can expect on either a group tour or an individual tour is you're going to spend some time with an admissions counselor hearing kind of our sales pitch, and you're going to go on tour with a current student who's trained by the admissions office to again show you the best stuff on campus. They're kind of a walking view book. And you may or may not have an interview or time alone with your admissions counselor. It really does depend on the school. So ask what the visit looks like, the tour would look like. The other thing is you're going to want to ask for extras. We never mind if a student says, is there a chance that I could meet with the lacrosse coach, or I really want to, sit in on a class or eat in the dining hall, or even spend the night with a current student. All of those things are fine. It depends on the school. My school will be happy to accommodate any of them. Other schools may or may not be able to, depending on their policies or what time of the year it is, or if they have something else going on. There's lots of different, every school's different. So again, this is why you call. And you can do some of this online, but it never hurts to pick up that phone and give us a call. We actually like to talk to real people. So that's really helpful. The other thing is what to wear, bring, what you'll need when you get there. Some of this again depends on what is all involved in your tour. If you're actually going to be going through an interview or meeting a faculty member about a scholarship or anything more formal, you're going to want to dress a little bit nice. Doesn't have to be super formal, but again, nice, clean, not messy, not ripped jeans, all of those sorts of things. think about, what you might wear to, a nicer event at your school, or something, that happens at your church or something like that. So kind of the equivalent of business casual in the work world. But also remember, you're going to be doing a lot of walking. The tours are going to walk you all over campus, so you're going to want to wear, really comfortable shoes. I mean, yes, we all love our Jimmy Choos, but we're not going to be wearing them on a campus tour because we'll be really in a lot of pain by the end of it. And so keep that in mind. Tennis shoes are fine, things like that. But just again, try to keep, don't chew gum, all of those sorts of interview-like things. It's a really good idea to have your parents or a family member with you, because they're going to have different questions than you have. They're going to be looking at different things. They're going to be much more, concerned about safety and cost and all of those sort of aspects than you might be. There'll probably be times where you're with them and separated from them, so you'll have time to ask the questions you really want to ask. But again, it's a great idea to bring them. You can go with a friend or with a friend's family. We really prefer that you don't just bring your boyfriend or girlfriend with you, and act like it's a casual thing, unless you truly are both looking at this institution, and that's fine as well. You'll definitely need something to take notes with. I really recommend you either bring a camera or plan on, taking some photos, preferably not just selfies, with your iPhone or smartphone, because after you've toured a lot of campuses, they all start to look alike in your mind. You may think you're going to remember that really cool residence hall or that neat science lab, but after visiting 2 or 3 schools, you're going to start going, now, was that at school X or school Y? So all of that's in play, so you're going to want to have something to take these notes on, and all. How to prep. You're going to want to spend some time on the website. You're going to want to read the view book. You're going to want to do all of those things, because you really do want to know a little bit about the school before you get there. You do not need to be an expert. We really aren't impressed when you tell us everything about our school. But we do expect you to have researched it a little bit and find things that interest you, things that you want to learn a little bit more about during your visit. So, okay, so here you're going to go. You show up, you're on time, you show up to the admissions office, you let them know you're here. Most of us are going to let you know where to park ahead of time and all of that. So during the tour, whether it's a group tour, individual tour, whatever it is, do ask questions. But again, be thoughtful about your questions. Don't ask us things that we think you should know. Don't ask us if we offer a biology major when we know that's on our website and you could have found that. But do ask us things about our internship opportunities, or where our students get jobs or go to grad school after graduation, or maybe some more about our study abroad program, or those sorts of things. But interest you. Don't ask us questions that you think will impress us, because we've been through this many, many times, and we really know the score here, so we know if we can really gauge whether a student's truly interested or not. Like I said, record your visit, take lots of photos, take notes, make sure you take the brochures that we offer to you, because you're going to need all of these things later, when you're trying to evaluate. Because the real thing about the campus visit, early on when you do a visit, like I said, in your junior year perhaps, you really are using this opportunity to help formulate this short list of where you're going to apply. Now you're going to probably do another visit after you've been accepted, so later on in your senior year, almost every school has an accepted student overnight or an accepted student reception or something, so you're going to go back for those for maybe your top 2 or 3 schools. But early on, you're really using this visit to figure things out. I can't begin to tell you how many students I've talked with who were certain they were going to go to College X. They've wanted to go there since they were little. They have all the sweatshirts, all of that. They step on that campus and they're like, ew, this really doesn't feel right. This isn't for me. I don't like the way it looks. The students are all different than me. It can really turn them off, and they'll take that school right off their list. And on the flip side, there may be a school on your short list that, well, maybe you weren't as interested in, or your counselor suggested you look at it, or your parents. And when you get to that campus, you feel it. You're like, oh my goodness, this really is the place for me. This is a place I'm interested in. This is a place I think I like. And so it can bump up, either get onto your short list or bump its place up on your short list. So it really is really useful. But I'm going to talk about probably the most important thing about the tour is to take what I call an unofficial tour. What happens is you go on the tour, and just like the website and the view book, we are going to show you the prettiest and newest buildings. We're going to show you the things we're most proud of. We're going to show you that, award-winning view from the tower and all of those things. But that's not necessarily where you're going to spend most of your time. So I really recommend that you, after the tour is done, you thank everyone, you leave the admissions office, and then you go on your own little tour. Perhaps there's some buildings that you didn't get to go in and you wanted to see. You're interested in being an art major and they only showed you the science labs. So find out where the building is that has the art department in it and go take a look. See if it appeals to you, if it has the sorts of things that you want it to have. Talk to students. Students love to talk to prospective students, and I tell you what, they're going to be incredibly honest with you. Ask them what they like best about the school, what they don't like about the school. Ask them what there is to do on the weekend, or if they are planning on studying abroad, or what the food's like, or any of those sorts of things, because again, we train our tour guides to tell you the best stuff. So you want to talk to the real deal. You want to talk to the real students. Talk to them, take a look. If there's any way to see where you might live during your freshman year, see if you can get into that residence halls. I mean, look in the trash cans, look on the walls, see what it's like. See if it's the sort of atmosphere you want. I think actually my favorite thing to do when I look at another campus is to take some time and read the bulletin boards or any sort of public areas where they post things about events. Look and see if maybe some bands are coming to campus that you like or don't like. If there's things about clubs and organizations and activities and all of that actually interest you, you can probably get the best feel about a college campus from these postings. Are there clubs? Are there activities? Are there people like you? So do take the time to look around and see if there's nothing up. Try to figure out what's going on there too. Are they just not allowed to post, or is there really nothing going on? And also go and stand like in the center of the quad or a big public area where there are lots of students walking around between classes, and look at them and see if these are the sort of students you want to have as friends, if you can picture yourself there, if this is really someplace you want to be. The other thing that you will try to do is eat in the dining hall. Almost every school will let you either eat there for free or purchase a pass to go in there and see what kind of offerings they have. Is it healthy? Is it things you like? Are there choices? I think that's another really good way to get a feel for a campus and to see who's in there, who's eating there, what they're doing, what they're talking about, and really get that vibe. You may feel a little awkward, like people are noticing you because you don't go there, and truly they're not. And if they do notice, they'll probably want to tell you all about their experience, good or bad, and really listen to them and talk to them. And when you get home, talk to alums, talk to people who had gone there in the past, anywhere from last year to 20 years ago, and really hear what they have to say about the school and what they're doing now and how connected they still feel to that school after it's all done. So you did this great tour. You learned an awful lot about the school, and it's kind of like, what's next? I think it's really important while you're there to find out who your admissions counselor is. Hopefully you got a chance to meet them, or at least meet a admissions counselor and admissions counselor. While you're there, grab their business card. Take names of any faculty members, or if your tour guide gives you their name, all of those sorts of things. When you get home, it's a really great idea to write them a thank you note. I know that sounds kind of old school and corny, but we don't get thank you notes very often, and I can tell you what, we really remember when we do, and we usually save them, we pin them on our bulletin boards and all of that. And not only does it make us feel good, but when it comes time again to make a decision whether to take a student off the wait list or give them a scholarship or not, or allow them entrance into a special program or not, sometimes those things can make a huge difference, because we're like, I remember, William, we had a great conversation and he wrote me this awesome thank you note and told me about how really interested he was in my school. I think he's a good fit for this school. I'm going to let him in. Those sorts of things really do make that difference. But again, don't just say, thanks for the visit, it was great. Give us a little more information so we remember that you actually did pay attention and listen to what we said. Things like, I had a great visit, really enjoyed my time on campus, really appreciated learning more about the internship at Under Armour and the possibility to, work there my junior year. That really seems like something that would be a good fit for me with my international business major. Thanks, can't wait to hear more. So go ahead and send those. It's fine to send them via email, but I can tell you they're going to have a lot more impact if they're paper. So you can get our addresses off the business card that you asked for during the visit, or you can get it off the website as well. But please take that extra step, because again, it does mean a lot to us. When it comes down to, again, you're making that decision on the short list based on a lot of things, but your campus visit is definitely part of that. Remember how it feels. I mean, it sounds really trite, and every campus you go to is going to say the same thing to you. When you step onto the campus, the right campus, you know it. You just really feel it in your gut, and it really is true. And the same thing for if it doesn't feel right. Think about why it doesn't feel right. Does it not feel safe? Or was it just like the weather was not so good on the day you visited? Because, if it's a really rainy, nasty day, you may not have the best image of the school. What made you feel that way and why as you go through those decisions? Again, stay in contact with your admissions counselor after the visit, but don't stalk us, because some students write us every day and we're like, yeah, okay, that's great, and we all kind of laugh about it, but do stay in contact. We want to know you're interested. I'm sure you have questions as you go through the process. And if you didn't get a chance to maybe sit in on a class or visit the fitness center or something like that on your first visit, come back and visit us again. Let us know what you're looking for and what you want, and how we can really help you make that decision. I think the college visit is the fit is the biggest issue around the visit, why you want to do it. You want to make sure it's a good fit for you. We want to make sure it's a good fit for us. This is some place you're gonna spend the next 4 years of your life, and it's a really, really important decision. So you want to have as much information as possible, but there's the other flip side of that. You may kind of stress yourself out or freak yourself out about this visit so much that it's not enjoyable. It needs to be fun. Make your campus visit fun. And that's really the most important thing, is to just kind of really take it seriously, but also enjoy it, because it's an exciting time. You have so many options ahead of you. You have so many choices and so many things to learn and see, and really, really sit into it and enjoy it, and come back again and again if you can. And if not, we understand that too, but do try to visit as many of the schools on that short list as you can, so you can make that best decision. Anyway, I have talked long enough, and you've got the slides, which is the basics of the information. Love to see if you have any questions, and I'm already seeing some pop up here. And the first question is that a student says that they're failing chemistry, but they're doing well in other classes, will I get into college? Again, it really depends on the school. All of us have different admissions requirements. Some are very strict, and if you don't have passing grades in all your classes, you're not going to get in. Some other schools are a little more forgiving and understand that students have strengths and weaknesses. And, we're going to look at the rest of your grades and how you've done in other things and really look at that whole picture. Some of us will look at more than academics, look at the extracurricular activities you've done and things like that. Some look at test scores more than others. But again, that's really, really variable. I'd recommend that you get to know your admissions counselor and ask them that question and just be really honest and just say, look, I'm just not doing well in chemistry, but I've got A's in AP English and I want to become a writer. Is there any opportunity for admission? And if not right away, they're going to certainly talk to you about the path to get in. They may say, why don't you send us first semester grades, or why don't you go to a community college for a class or two, or whatever it is, but we're going to work with each student individually to help them be as successful as possible. The next question is, will most professors let us sit in on a class? Do I need to get permission beforehand? Absolutely. You need to get permission beforehand, because sometimes a professor is giving a test, or there's a discussion that it might be a little bit disruptive to have an unannounced student in there. But I can guarantee you that every faculty member, if there's any way possible, will allow a student come in and experience the class. But this is where your admissions office can help. So you call the school up and say, I really want to sit in on, urban studies course, and can you help facilitate that? Let us contact the faculty member and arrange it and figure out what time and place and all of that, and work that out for you. That's what we're there for. And that way, when you come, the faculty member will be expecting you and will be welcoming to you, and you'll feel a lot better about the experience. But if you're walking around a college campus and walking down the hall and you see a faculty member before class or after class, certainly talk to them and speak with them. They may invite you into a class. But the other thing, college admissions offices like to know when you visited our campus, and so try to do at least an official visit as well, because you don't get those extra points of interest if you're just doing unofficial visits. So I want you to maximize your opportunity as well. And let's see. And then this next question is, what's the most important place I should try to see on a visit that generally won't be on the tour? That's a very good question. Probably the place that won't be on the tour is where you're going to live as a freshman. If you're going to live on campus, most of the time we show you kind of the upperclassman dorm or one of the residence halls that's a little bit nicer or newer. We might not show you exactly where you're going to live as a freshman, so you can ask to see that, or ask a student to maybe see their room, things like that. We probably won't show you that. It's really variable whether we're going to show you the dining hall or not. It sort of depends if we're proud of it and we have good food or not. And we may or may not show you the fitness center. Now, I know all of those are not necessarily academic places, but these are places that you're going to spend a lot of time at and really will improve the quality of your life. Now, that said, they don't have to be the best. I mean, you're not going to be staying in, this really, really fancy residence hall, but at the same time, you're going to want to make sure it's clean and feel safe and, it looks like people are okay living there and all of that. So those are probably the places we're not going to show you. The other thing that we may or may not show you is if you're going with a really large group, there may be 10 students in there with their parents, and one of you may want to major in chemistry and one of you want to major in art and everything in between. We're not going to have time on that tour to show you all those different departments. So if you didn't get to see your department, that's another place that I would circle around to try to see, to make sure they have the facilities and the atmosphere that you really want. All right. The next question is, what's my opinion on double majors, and will this put a larger struggle on me during college? I'm actually a huge fan of double majors or a combination of a major minor. And there's a number of reasons for that. It gives you flexibility, like while you're in school, but really mainly when you get out. Because there's good pairings and there's pairings that maybe are a little more challenging. There are some majors that it's very difficult to do a double major in. Music's one of them. It's really hard to do because it's so intensive that you may not have time to do a second major. But there's some majors that are perfect together, and some minors that work really well with almost everything. Many students will pick the major of their heart, whether it again be art or philosophy or whatever it is, but also get their teaching certificate at the same time so that they can, teach this field. Or maybe, if again using art as an example, you might want to double major in business if your end goal is possibly to run your own studio or get into advertising or something like that. So there's lots of ways to kind of pair things up. It makes parents happier if you pair your major up with something else that might be a little bit easier for you to get a job in and all of that. But I will tell you that it will take time, and you may have to take a class in a winter term or a summer to get it done in 4 years. Very doable, and I think that flexibility will really help you in the long run. You don't need to know all of this the moment you step on campus, but I would recommend when you talk to your academic advisor that you let them know that you're thinking about maybe double majoring, not quite sure what yet, or maybe you are, and let them help kind of navigate that path for you to make sure that you're doing everything. What we really don't want you to be is start of your senior year on campus and you're like, yeah, I think I really want to have the second major, and then you end up having to spend an extra year on campus to get that. So I think that's kind of my opinion, but if you can do it, and really every student should be able to do that unless you're in a very intensive pre-nursing or, like I said, music, something like that major. All right, let's see. This is a great question. Are there good questions that everyone forgets to ask on the visit? And it's true. There are always, sometimes students ask questions and I'm like, wow, I would have never really thought to ask that. And I think students tend to go one direction or the other. They will often ask just questions about the social life, like, tell me about sororities, tell me about this club, that, or they're just going to ask questions about the academics, talk to me about, your business major, what opportunities will I have, very intensive. We like to have students to try to find a little bit of both, because college is certainly more than the classroom, and it is also certainly more than the outside of the classroom. So try to find that balance, but I think students are very focused on being concerned about their, getting the right major, getting the job, all of that, that sometimes they forget to ask about support services such as, tutoring or a writing center, or anything like that. I think they're also afraid, like if they ask if there is a tutoring center, that we might think that they're students or something like that. But we don't. We actually think you're pretty smart to try to figure out how to do the best you can in those classes. I think study abroad is a good thing to ask about, and also internships or co-ops, because again, students are kind of focused on either end, but they're sometimes not focused kind of in the middle of like, what opportunities would I have maybe my sophomore or junior year. Another kind of cool thing to ask about is, what sorts of speakers do they have coming on campus, or concerts or lectures, because again, we want you to be intellectually stimulated outside of the classroom too, and a college may bring in really cool speakers, but you don't necessarily know about that. So that's probably a really good question to ask about as well. So there's that. Let's see. The question here is, should students of color contact the Multicultural Affairs Office to learn about special programs such as weekend campus visits, scholarships, etc.? What other admission strategies can you suggest to address the needs of students of color? Great question. I think that really the admissions office is probably your first stop for everything, because we know about all the events that are happening on campus, whether it's for students of color, for students who want to be a student athlete, for someone interested in engineering, or whatever their particular area may be. But then it's great to go ahead and follow up with like the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and just see what they have on their website, or give them a call. Or when you're asking the admissions office about coming for a personalized visit, let them know you'd like to speak with someone in that office, and just again to get kind of a feel for that campus. I think that's a great idea. The more you can talk to these individual groups, again, whether it's athletics or multicultural affairs or veteran affairs or whatever subgroup it is, the more you're going to get to know about a campus. I wouldn't just do that. I'd also want to try to get the larger feel, because you don't want to limit yourself, but at the same time to strike that balance. So I think that admission strategies for students of color, I think you check out the websites of the colleges you're looking to apply. They're usually very straightforward about maybe any special scholarships or special programs, etc. You're going to want to get a feel if it feels like a welcoming campus or not. Again, your campus visit will help you with that. You will figure that out pretty quickly when you step onto a campus. But I think you also will get a feel when you look at the website and you look at students, look at the photos of students on campus. Do they seem staged? Do they seem real? So try to get that sort of feel. Look for those scholarship opportunities. Look for partnerships with like the Gates Foundation or other organizations that promote higher education for students of color. So you're going to look for those sorts of connections as well. But I can tell you that really most every college in the nation wants to diversify their campus in all sorts of ways with all sorts of students. And so we are always looking for that sort of balance. But again, it's about fit and comfort both ways. So hopefully that helped answer that. All right. Question here is that this is a transfer student who has taken one upper division class at a 4-year and now at a community college. They're looking to transfer in the fall and wondering about a unit cap, if colleges only accept certain amount of credits. And the answer is yes. Most colleges do have a policy about how many credits can transfer in, and it ranges usually between 65 and 90 that we'll accept in, and we all want you to spend at least 30 credits at our institution to graduate, which is roughly a year. We want you to spend at least a year at our institution before you walk away with a diploma, and that's mainly because you're bringing in all these credits in from other schools, but your diploma is going to have our name on it. And so we want to make sure that you're really, educated from our school, and we all have particular strengths and stamps that we want you to be able to do, such as write well or engage in service learning or whatever it is. And we need to have you there long enough to have time to do that. So yes, if you are already thinking, if you have a couple schools in mind, you may want to ask them what their transfer policy is. How many credits they'll let you transfer in, but also what courses, because we don't accept all courses. Certainly we wouldn't accept anything that's very specific to a school, like, Notre Dame 101 is not going to be accepted at the University of Maryland because they're so different. But English 101 is. And so find out that, ask about grades. Some schools will bring grades in, some schools won't. Some schools will bring in only your highest grade. Say you fail chemistry, as our other student was challenged with, and you take it again and get a C. Some schools are going to just take that C. Some schools are going to take both grades. So you're going to really want to figure that out. Colleges have transfer counselors, just like an admissions counselor would work with a senior in high school. Transfer counselors are well versed in transfer credits, transfer policies. The other thing to really keep an eye on about transferring, which is truly a good way to go. A lot of school students are doing this, even really top students are doing this for financial reasons, for preparation reasons, for a lot of reasons, is to look at their scholarships. Some schools offer a lot of scholarships to freshmen and very few to transfers. Other schools are really very transfer friendly. I mean, at my school, if you're, transferring in and you were like in the junior college or community college honor society, we're automatically going to give you a half scholarship. So it really varies school to school. So ask those questions. But yeah, that's a really good question before you go down the path too far with your transfer credits. Find out the policies of maybe your top 2 or 3 schools that you're looking to transfer to. Okay. Okay, so here's a question from an individual who came down with mono last summer. Hope you're feeling better. That's kind of a rough one. And was unable to visit most of his colleges before school started again, even his top choices. And he wanted to know if he should let the admissions office know about that. And some of his schools are far away, so he was thinking about waiting until that he gets accepted before visiting them. And I think that's certainly fine. Yeah, if we all had our choices, we would love to have you visit all of our schools, but we know that's not usually even humanly possible. So yeah, I would probably get to know your counselor. You can do it over email. You can call them and just let them know. Say, hey, I had planned to visit. I got sick this summer. Doing better now. Not really going to be able to visit until a little bit later. Is there any special things you can tell me? Do you have any recommendations? Again, you're going to want to build that relationship with that individual because they're going to be there to help you. And again, even if you don't physically get to that campus, building that relationship, particularly when it's either distance or illness or a bunch of different reasons, come into play. So yeah, it's fine, and I probably would agree with you. Don't go a long distance until you've been accepted, unless say you were going to Boston and you live in California and you were going there and you could visit 5 schools at once. Great. That's kind of worth your time and money. But if you just have one school you're looking at, then yeah, I probably would wait. But at the same time, it does not hurt to let the admissions counselor know kind of what the score is and what the scoop is. And it's not that you weren't interested, it's just you couldn't get there. Let's see. Okay, here's a question from a student who's in the 10th grade. And they're asking if I would suggest that they wait to really get into whether you know about the financial aid and the college visit and talking to the admissions officer until their junior year. No, absolutely not. Go ahead and if you're motivated in 10th grade to do this, then we love to see you. Again, that shows great interest and great motivation. It's early for you and your mind will change. And so keep that in mind that you may visit a school, at the start of 10th grade, and when you visit it again, the start of your senior year, your interests may have shifted a little bit. But there's nothing wrong with starting that process now, particularly if you're trying to get from a large list down to a short list. What I would recommend, though, is that you stay in contact and keep watching the websites and get back to those campuses if you can. But heck, if we can talk to you now in 10th grade or 8th grade or 9th grade, we're thrilled, because the other thing that we can do as we develop that relationship with you is help you select what courses to take as you're moving forward. I'll start talking to students in their freshman and sophomore years in high school, and they tell me like, I'm not going to take any more foreign language, after my sophomore year. And I try to encourage them to go ahead and continue with that, because college is like that. We look for those sorts of things. So really, starting earlier is great. The only thing that I will have you keep in mind is things will change. Financial aid will change. Scholarship opportunities will change. What I don't want you to do is automatically kick a school out because you think it's going to be too expensive when you look at it early. Give us the time to work with you and find scholarships. And I guess that's my recommendation to all students who are listening to this as well. Don't take a school off your list because you think it's going to be too expensive. Or, I'm at a women's college, and many of you young women are like, no way in heck would I ever go to a women's college. I like to be around boys. It's great. But so don't kick it off your list until you give us a try, or a liberal arts school a try, or a public school a try. So throw those schools on your list so you can see if it, I think you're going to be surprised sometimes about both directions. Big schools, little schools, all of that. So yeah, great. Go for 10th grade, get started. We would love to talk to you. And the question here is, would I be offended if 2 days before your visit I asked to see a science lab? No, not at all. I think that's fine. I'm not sure we can always arrange it, but ask. It never hurts to ask, even if you're there day of. So you're there, you're going on your tour, and you're like, I really wanted to see the fitness center, but I didn't ask them about that. Just ask if there's any way to see the fitness center. What they may say is, yes, it's already on our tour. Or they also may say, no, but when we're done, I'll be happy to walk you over there and show it to you. So it never hurts to ask. You may not always be able to do it, particularly last minute stuff, but it never hurts to ask. And that's why, I say if you can give us 2 weeks, great. But if it's really, like I said, if you're driving by a campus and you're like, hey, that looks kind of cool, let me see it, drive on, talk to us. We may not be able to give you the full tour, but we're going to always try to accommodate you as best we can because we want you to see us. That's thrilling to us. So if you can be planful, great. But if you can't, we understand that too. It's life. So please ask. Let's see. Okay. The question here is, how many colleges should a person tour before the summer of their senior year? Ooh, that's a great question, and that really varies student to student. Right now, kind of the trend is for students to crazily apply to about 10 schools. That's a really high number from the world of admissions, but I get it. People want to maximize their opportunity to get in, to get the best scholarships and all of that. I would try to really visit at least the top 3 to 5 of your top schools. So you have your short list. Maybe you have 10 or 12 schools on that list. Try to at least visit the top 5. Does that all have to be before your start of your senior year? No, but do it early in your senior year if you haven't gotten to all of them, because many schools have application deadlines in November. So you may not even want to apply to a school if you get on that campus and you're like, not for me. But then again, if you have to apply and then visit, that's okay too. But try to get as many visits in before you actually apply. Again, unless it's on the other side of you may be an international student. You're not going to be able to visit schools, or it may be a significant distance or a significant cost. And that's okay too, but do try to 3 to 5 if at all possible. That would be my recommendation. This question here is, what careers do you offer? Again, every school is different. My school has 30 majors, so we have lots of choices, and we're all going to have this information on the website. But look for unique things. Every school will offer basics. They're going to offer English and biology and business, those sorts of schools. But look for schools with unique things if you have a particular interest, like nursing or environmental studies. And if you have a really specific interest like marine biology, your schools are going to be a little bit limited which schools offer that. But also keep in mind, there's a very good chance you're going to change your mind about what major you want to do. So try to think about a school that has options. So if you start out as pre-med and then realize, I don't really like chemistry, that you have something to shift into. Maybe you want to now go into psychology because you just wanted to help people, but you weren't quite sure what you thought you had to be a doctor. So look for that sort of breadth, but all of our schools will tell you all about our majors on our website. And the question here is about this individual being a sophomore. Should they wait till junior year to really focus on financial aid? I probably would, but I would start during your junior year. So start figuring out what schools feel right to you and fit, and then start really focusing on financial aid. And I'm going to shift really quickly for a moment about scholarships and financial aid because those areas report to me as well. And I see students make a lot of mistakes here. There's lots of deadlines around these sorts of things, and they're often different from the deadlines for admissions. So always get like a calendar or some sort of program or something that marks down when these things are due. It breaks my heart every year to receive scholarship applications after the due date. I can't take them. And these students may have been the perfect fit for that scholarship. So really keep an eye on that. And your junior year is a good time to start. Now, they may change a day or two before your senior year, but they're going to be close. You're going to know in, February that you're going to have this application in. So that will really help you be planful. It's nothing like staying up the night before they're all due and trying to slam them all out. That's crazy and it's a lot of work. And also there's a lot of national and international and all sorts of scholarships tied to things that aren't tied to the college. They may be state grants, they may be Gates Foundation scholarships, things like that. And these go unclaimed every year. It kills me. But again, it's just because people miss deadlines. So really keep an eye on that. And really your junior year is a great time to start thinking about that. You can do it in your senior year, but it's usually in the fall. And it's your senior year, and you want to be focusing on some other stuff then too. And the question here is summer an okay time to visit a campus, or is it a drawback as all activities aren't in full swing? Ideally, it's best to visit a campus when school is in session. So if you could go during your spring break, or maybe your school allows you a couple days off to go look. That would be ideal because you're going to get a real feel for the campus then. However, if you can't, then go during the summer. You may not get the student feel, but you're still going to see the buildings, you're still going to see the facilities. Most of those things are going to be the same. I will caution you that some schools run programs during the summer with students that don't necessarily look like their own. They may be kids programs, there may be adult programs or conferences there, and you may step on a campus and be like, why is everyone so old? It may just be the conferences they're running. Also, usually the food service is kind of, bad. It's not as full during the summer. So it's fine to visit in the summer, but keep in mind that things are going to be a little bit different. Then again, facilities are facilities, and it's not, the residence halls aren't going to be any difference in the summer as they are in the fall. So, yes and no, ideal during the school year, but if you can't, getting to campus at all is really your priority. Let's see. The question here is also from a sophomore, and they're starting to receive college letters and emails, and oh, this is about all the schools that are contacting you. If you think you're getting a lot now, you just wait. We're all going to be at you very soon. What you don't know is how we get your names are usually from either you send to us and you tell us you're interested, or when you take the PSAT or the ACT plan, we can purchase names from those tests to see of students who might be a good fit for us. So we're all going to start flooding your mailboxes very soon. If you don't want to get as many, let us, like if you get one from a school you're not interested in attending, if you let us know, we'll stop sending them to you, we promise. But I wouldn't necessarily stop receiving them, because they really are helpful, and what you think you might want now may be very different from what you want next year. And so collect them, start thinking about what appeals to you. And even if you have no intention of going to school in Oregon, but you got this really cool brochure from them, what is it about that brochure that speaks to you? Is it the look of the campus? Is it the opportunities? Is it the type of students? And so maybe you can find that same sort of fit at a school closer to home, or maybe you decide you do want to go to Oregon or something like that. So I probably wouldn't limit yourself yet, but I can tell you, you are going to get so many more. You'll probably get things from 200 different schools. So be prepared to get that recycling bin ready. All right. Well, it looks like my time with you is just about over. But I'm really, really happy to continue to answer questions. I mean, I can't do it on here, but if you ever wanted to email me at my school, which is Notre Dame of Maryland University, I'm happy to answer your questions. And really, any admissions counselor at any school will answer your questions, whether it's about their school or someplace else. What we all want is just to help you find the right place for you to go to college and to have the best experience. We all hope it's at our school, but it's not always going to be our school. So let us help you navigate the financial aid and the scholarships and the admissions process, because it can get tricky. So just reach out to us, get to know us, and let us help you. And I wish you all the very, very best.